Hey guys, I am John Carrick, author of Legacy of a Mad Scientist and The Legend of Ashley Fox. Today we are looking at Danger Girl number 3, and there's a few things I want to point out just on the cover. First, their logo, where they have the Deuce character, the Sean Connery James Bond character, in the lower part of the eye. The upper part of the eye is the cliffhanger name of their studio, and the circle, the dot of the eye, is a word balloon for the James Bond Deuce character. And then we see image number 3. Then we get an awesome logo. Also, I had said that Scott Williams was inking, but it's a guy named Garner. Dave. I'm trying to remember his first name. I know it's not James Garner, but I want to say Andy Garner, but that's probably wrong too, because it's Andy Hartnell. And I did read in the letters column that J. Scott Campbell is Jeff Scott Campbell. So I certainly couldn't call him by that. I don't know him personally like that. But also looking at this cover. Now this cover is in plastic. It is not the one I looked at. It is the one I took a photo of for the thumbnail. But it's in very good shape and I don't want to break the spine. That said, we're looking at Sidney Savage, Natalia Castle, Abby Chase, and Johnny Barracuda on the cover of Danger Girl number 3. And there's a few things I have taken note of in these past 3 issues that Jeff Scott Campbell draws different and better than most people. Specifically, eyes, eyebrows, noses, and mouths, faces. And then hips, especially on females, hands. He draws hands really well. But the curves that he gives to girls, the expressions that he gives to girls, this guy, best artist of all time. So I mentioned that we are not looking at this version of issue number 3. We're also not looking at this version of issue number 3 yet. We are going to look at this. This is a pencil preview. We're going to look at it after we look at this version. I have 2 of these of Danger Girl number 3. There is another cover, and we will look at it when we switch over to the other setup. I have a huge stack of Danger Girl comics right now, and I'm going to take them apart. I'm going to learn mouths and eyes and everything I can before I die from Mr. Campbell's artwork. I don't have very long, so this is my retirement hobby. I'm not going to paint birds. I'm not going to do Warhammer models. I'm going to draw girls for comic books. This is a recap of the last issue where Abby snuck into Peach's hotel room and is hiding disguised as a prostitute in his hot tub. Here we cut to Johnny Barracuda and a girl who is not Natalia Castle. She looks more like Denise Richards or Abby Chase or my little sister Mary Kate. He gets tapped on the shoulder by Sidney Savage, who wants to offer him a drink. I love this establishing shot of the chateau. Then we get the inset panels that I hate. Look, if you do inset panels over an establishing shot, there's no reason I need a full page of a Switzerland chateau, which has changed a little bit since the last time we saw it. And I just happen to have the most recent issues right here because I did want to look at the name of the inker. And here we have to flip all the way through here. So there's Andy Hartnell. He is a writer, creator. Alex Garner is doing the inks. Apparently, Scott Williams helped on the inks for issue 2. That's Alex Garner's name down there. But in here, we do see with Alex Garner inks. Alex Garner with Scott Williams inks. That was the whole point of my pulling this out, and I almost went right past it. I did go to the VA today. I did have my eyes dilated. It's no excuse. I should be better prepared. Let's continue. So this guy, Hervé Villechaize. Now, if you guys remember, Ninja Scroll came out in 96, I believe, and Les Claypool III of Primus did the music mix on Ninja Scroll. I don't think he created the soundtrack. He did the mix. So he was moonlighting as a... That's like, some people get that job as a full career. And Les Claypool was moonlighting as a sound mixer for movies. You don't even get to sound mix commercials as moonlighting. But he is like the greatest bassist of all time. So Hervé Villechaize, the reason I bring up Ninja Scroll is because he is wearing these extender claws that are right out of the opening scene of Ninja Scroll, where I have the hardest time saying his last name, Jubei Kikagami, is running across the bridge, and he gets waylaid by bandits who want to steal the sword that he just stole back. I believe it was a sword. And he was only charging them 30 pieces of gold, and they wanted 300. He's like, they don't have that much. You can't charge them that much. And yes, I am deliberately talking over this art, so I get to keep it on the screen longer. Issue number 3, I have an idea. Oh, I don't know if this will work. Dangerous Curves. Danger Girl. Abby chases back as she pushes up out of the bath with her feet coming up behind her. He draws great feet. He's not afraid of drawing feet. I've noticed it a few times in this issue. So this is The Peach, not to be confused with Peach Van Pletzen, the South African songwriter and musician. He jumps in the bath with Abby. He pulls off his clothes super fast. She wants to vomit. Look at how he draws faces and mouths and smiles. All the expressions. Her mouth goes from filling up most of her face to very little of her face. I was working on a picture not unlike this one of Ashley, where I needed reference for a mouth. And this is the place to get it. She drops the corkscrew. He goes down looking for it, and she smashes him with the champagne bottle. Look at this. Look at how good that is. I'm talking about it like my discovery somehow makes me, like my recognition of the art somehow includes me in it. We continue with the Hervé Villechaize character and his giant, sort of a robotic lurch from Addams Family. Attack Johnny Barracuda, get him in a bear hug. Sydney Savage pulls out her whip, gets it around the big guy's neck. Johnny does karate chops. But then Hervé Villechaize, Tattoo from Fantasy Island, grabs him with his ninja claws. And look at how many small panels we get. 4 small panels, 1 big. 4. Does this one count as a small panel? I mean, he packs so much. We even get a word balloon in there. No one does this much economy of space and still has all this empty space. Who is this good? Who is this good? Now we get Natalia Castle. She is dressed in server gear, so she was not the blonde that Johnny was flirting with, obviously, because Johnny would have recognized her and known her. And I don't think we ever see her hair that puffed out. Perfectly drawn feet. There's somewhere else. I want to see, there's another one where she was barefoot. Oh, maybe it's coming up. Natalia is my favorite. She looks the most like Valeria from Conan. But Abby Chase is the most beautiful. Abby Chase really does look like my little sister. So she's ready to escape, and the new Nazis break in. And I love them as bad guys. They're the perfect bad guys. They're the world's most dangerous bad guys. She takes the shield out as a sled because, of course, she only takes it off the rooftop onto this guy's back. She doesn't go down the entire mountain. He is standing next to a snowmobile. See that snowmobile? Johnny Barracuda comes out the window. Look at how perfectly, look at how each element is set up in the panel before it. Perfect foreshadowing. Leaves no questions as to how the characters are going to get out of this. The snowmobile's right there. Abby jumps onto it. Johnny, let's go. The big head Nazi is watching from the balcony. The twins find Peach and say that he should be named Peanut. They really do talk exactly like Tomax and Zema out of G.I. Joe, in that one of them starts a sentence and the other one finishes it, which is brilliant to do with twins. If you're doing twins and you miss that, you messed up. I have a pair of twins, Kira and Sasha, a brother and sister, and I need to take that note. And I didn't notice it on the first read. I'm only noticing it going back here with you guys, and I'm only doing this once. I'm not preparing these videos 60 times like some other, like business-minded YouTubers do. I'm doing this off the cuff. It needs to be genuine, authentic, fast, and improv. And I need to learn things when I see them. And if I only get it on 2 exposures, I need to learn it. I don't have time to go through this 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 times. I'm too old for that. This is taken right out of James Bond's On Her Majesty's Secret Service, where George Lazenby disguises himself as a genealogy expert and is in Blofeld's secret lab, where he is MK Ultra-ing a bunch of girls, and that he is turning these really hot supermodel girls into MK Ultra assassins, and James Bond sneaks in and finds out. And that's very similar to the party that we just left. I did look at this. I mean, obviously this is different, but there is a lot of the line work. This is copied and pasted, the inks, which good for them. I think the colors too. It should be. It should be. So, yeah. Batman looks great. Superman looks great. This was the golden age of comics. Really was. The 1990s, before the fall of the World Trade Centers, before our culture got legitimately hijacked, when there was no racism, between the end of Vietnam and the birth of the Culture War, which I mark as 2001, we really had, at least in America, put an end to racism for my generation. My generation, Generation X, that came up at the end of Vietnam, before we were adults by the time the World Trade Center fell. We grew up without racism. We were watching shows like Miami Vice and the A-Team, where Tubbs was Crockett's, Don Johnson, Sonny Crockett's perfect partner. Philip Michael Thomas played Tubbs. I don't remember his first name. Ricardo Tubbs. I've been watching that show. It's really good. The A-Team was really good. Mr. T. I got to meet Mr. T a bunch of times. He worked out at my gym out here in Sherman Oaks at the mall, Galleria Mall on Sepulveda and Ventura Boulevard. Saw him in there a bunch. I haven't been there in years because now I work out at home. But my generation, the point stands. My generation grew up racism free. We had been completely brainwashed about World War II as well. It was not as bad as the millennials got it way worse. Their brainwashing about World War II was much more insidious and much more filled with lies. Ours was not so bad. They didn't force us to learn about the pedal-powered brain-bashing machines or the trains of death that were completely made up. Anyhow. Also, I'm not going to get into that right now. The bad guys, the Nazis, are chasing Abby Chase and Johnny Barracuda down the hill. The shield is reflecting bullets or deflecting bullets, which an old shield made of bronze, they would go straight through them and have killed the pair of them. But this is a Captain America magic shield in a comic book, and it can still deflect bullets. Here's a bad guy on a peak, on a ridge top, watching them. And they are shooting back. Of course they are. I don't want to get my hands in the way too much. Look at how many panels are packed onto this page. Only 5, but over here we've got, 9? And they're creatively distributed. 9 panels on a John Buscema page never looked that good. Never, ever, ever. And his gutters and borders were every bit as present. Those are full borders, full gutters. The only panel that hits the edge is this one, and we do have a word balloon down there, so it is a little bit of cheating. They wouldn't have done that in Conan, but my God, 9 perfect panels that advance the story. This is comic. This is as good as it ever got. Anyone, please show me a comic book better than this series. Show me a title better than this title. They have triggered an avalanche that buries the pursuing Nazis. We didn't get an avalanche in On Your Majesty's Secret Service, but it does have an 11-minute downhill skiing and shooting scene. That's in the Olympics, and James Bond is the reason why. Of course, it was in the Olympics before James Bond, but they had skiers going down backwards, firing guns as they went. It's one of the best sequences ever put to film. I believe that movie came out in 1967. It's the one where James Bond gets married to Diana Rigg, who's about as pretty as Abby Chase. Now they are trying to outrun an avalanche. Is there anything I can possibly say? They jump off the snowmobile, let it crash through the ice. The snowmobile and the water, the snowmobile breaks open the ice and the water breaks their fall. They're able to swim out. Deuce picks them up. We have seen a couple of these where we get a cut at the bottom of a page. I've seen Sal Buscema do that and other comic book artists. I don't think I ever saw that in a John Buscema book. Never, ever, ever. The scene cuts only happened on page turns. I think. I might be wrong. I don't know about Barry Smith's early Conan work because I wasn't paying that close attention when we started that with this channel. Here we get the obligatory James Bond seduction scene in the cabin. Abby Chase is in front of the fire. Johnny Barracuda is cozying up to her. This would have been a great place to have an ad, but it's just as well, you know. Sydney is only too happy to break them up. She likes and hates Johnny at the same time. They have a Humvee, which he compliments. This was still pretty early. I think Arnold had gotten Humvees into the regular civilian fleet around 96. I don't want to flip off of this. Look at how good Abby Chase is, you know, how well she's... There's the feet. Look at how it looks like she's wearing shoes almost. But those aren't, you know... I wouldn't call them sexy feet. They're a little bit truncated in that the toes are really pushed down into the carpet, but... I don't know why other artists are afraid of drawing feet. You know who's really good at it? And we do have to get to... I believe his name is Hiroyuki Samura, who did Blade of the Immortal. I'm sure that's wrong. And I don't know that I have any of those here. I only really had those in trade paperback, but we will get floppies. That's probably going to be one of the first. We did Gray in black and white. That book is also in black and white. And it was only penciled, and then the pencils were scanned, and the resolution was bumped up. So here we have them back in the Hummer. driving away. Valerie wants to talk to Johnny, and Natalia and Sydney don't let her. This is another ad for Crimson. Apparently Crimson is a big-breasted Robin Hood girl in lingerie. What's not to like? And now we cut to this guy living in some creepy old house. He's apparently an internet millionaire of some sort or another. And he's playing a video game. Sorry about the light. Let me see what I can do to fix this. I know what I'll do. Playing a video game and someone rings the doorbell, and that someone is the villains for this issue. It's the first time we really get a scene with them. But there it is, the big bad and his girl Friday and another bad guy over here. This is a skinny little cowboy, and they want some of whatever he is that he has. I don't remember. I'm sure we'll find out in the next issue. J. Scott Campbell's girls do start to look alike, but his guys are so distinct that it's not an issue. Besides, pretty girls do look alike. Generally. Rosario Dawson could be a white girl. Jamie Lee Curtis looks like a dude. Oh, okay, so now we're going to put this back here. Also, our card for today is the Elf. The Two of Pentacles. The Elf. I'll cut in the big one here. But now we have a special surprise. I don't know where I got this or how I got this, but I got it, if you know what I mean. Flashed this, showed this off the other day when we were doing the first one. Pencils for Danger Girl number 3. So this is what we saw. Johnny Barracuda. Now let's compare this a little bit, why don't we? See how much work the inker and the colorist actually did. Holy shit. No wonder the chateau doesn't look the same. J. Scott Campbell didn't even fucking draw it. Look at that. Now see, I remember this from the last issue, which we just happen to have right here. I remember this because I remember liking it so much. I remember thinking, wow, that chateau is really fucking cool. Do you guys remember thinking that? Let's take a look and see why we thought that. What it was that made me think, wow, that chateau is fucking cool. That chateau is fucking cool. Right? Now, here's the thing. If these pencils had been turned in and were being colored, the inker may not have had access to them, especially if Scott Williams was inking this issue, because his name is on this, and Alex Garland was inking this issue, or Alex Garner was inking this issue, he may not have had an opportunity to see the other chateau at all. It may not have been present in anything he had access to. He may not have been able to see it digitally. So he had to just make it up. Make it up, man. This is pretty, this is not insignificant at all. We are seeing what was done and what was missed. Can you guys see all of that? Here we got all the titles. Dangerous Curves. doing this comic such a disservice. I'm abusing it so horribly. Wow. He added in a little bit here, but otherwise it's the exact same. Apologies, guys. Doing the best I can. Right? Wow. Looks like this arm got reworked a little bit. Maybe it was just the scan. Even the small panels are great. Look at that. You need that. If you don't have it, you miss it. Let's see the next page here. Wow, look at all the work. You can see where it gets muddy, where all the work was done. You know, like right through here, and right through here. There's so much going on. Right through here, so much going on. I love the reflected light, the way the shadows work. Wow. I hope and pray this is in focus, guys. Yeah, this is a treat. Getting to look at these next to each other is a real treat. This is a lot of fun for me. I hope you guys are having a good time. It's a little tricky, but we're going to make it work. Again, look at the muddy parts. This guy, man, he's earning his paycheck. He really is. Look at how many panels we get right through here. She sees the chandelier, takes a trick shot, hits it, and it falls and hits them. He solves all of that in one strip across the bottom, in a 5-panel strip. He solves the entire problem. They don't even break in until the 3rd panel on this page. She dodges and then gets 5 panels to beat them. This is expert level comics. Then she escapes to face this other guy outside, solves him and rescues Johnny for the next bit of their escape. For the next magic trick, look at all this work. Wow. And it's so good. It's hard to say you don't lose a little bit from the pencils to the colors, but what you lose, you gain. So what you lose here, you gain in the light, right? This light, this added light is a plus. I think what you lose throughout here, you gain with the highlight on Abby and the action coming out of the and even this pops more, but this pops less, so our eye gets more of this. This really, comparing the pencils to the finished colors, man, what a way to go. This is how every comic should be viewed. If only, right, guys? If only. I think this is our last page. Then we get another comic that I don't have. So Johnny and Abby escaping. Is there anything that was added to the page? We have these two twins down here. Peach. This pops more here, less so here. I think we could have done that with a dark background and highlighted them. I think I would have tried that. This guy's lost a little bit, but it's okay. We gain a lot down here. And this panel, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I just need to take it all in. I need to study it. I really like how he does clothing wrinkles. That's a lot of what I see in Dave Finch as well. They do clothing wrinkles in a similar style, similar fashion. So that's Danger Girl. And again, today's Fantasy World Tarot card is the Elf. I have an elf character. We're not going to show him right here, though. All right, let's do the next bit. Hey, guys. So today we were looking at Danger Girl number 3 with the Danger Girl preview book. These pencils. I don't know what you would call this. I'm sure there's a name on it down here somewhere. 98 something. 98 special. But, yeah. Right? So, J. Scott Campbell, Alex Garner, Scott Williams, Andy Hartnell, all working together for Image Comics and Cliffhanger Studios, which I think is J. Scott Campbell's studio. Considering every one of these issues ended with a cliffhanger, except this last one. Didn't this last one end with them escaping and they're safe? I think so, right? It ends with them inside the Humvee. Yeah, this is the last panel we get, is they're inside the Humvee down here. So they escaped. They are at the end of Danger Girl number 3. The girls are out of danger, which is maybe not always a good thing. Here's the rest of the set. This is what we've got left. This is 3, 4, I think 4. These are all 4. This is number 2 again. Wait a minute, those are number 1s. Those are number 1s, not number 4. Here we go. Here's number 4. Number 4. This is the next one, the Big Bads. I think this is also number 4. Doesn't that look amazing? Is this 5? Oh, that was a number 5, so this is a number 6. Sorry, my hand's in the way. Move it down here. I'm in such a hurry to get to these, but we don't have to hurry. They're coming. We're going to look at all of them. And we're going to get all the other mini-series that they have too. Because, yes. Wow, this one's extra big. This one seems like double-sized. Danger Girl. Abby Chase. Most beautiful girl in comics. In my humble opinion. So, what else is going on? We have the conflicted card that I just read, and I remember it. Sebastian, who is in our last card. This is the 4 of spades. Sebastian is a Marine, and he is on post somewhere, presumably Camp Pendleton, maybe up here, at a National Guard post, or maybe Miramar, something like that. He's a Marine, and his brother is in a town that has gone crazy. I have a brother in San Diego. I have a couple brothers here in LA. What would you do to find your brother in a crazy town? That is Escape from New York with Kurt Russell. And luckily my brother in San Diego is he is really like Kurt Russell. So it'd be really easy to find him. Everyone down there knows him. People who hang out and, go to bars and drink and are in the San Diego culture usually know my brother. People in boating culture, he sails a lot. So he goes sailing a lot. I would just have to find yacht racers and ask them if they know my brother. And they would tell me yes. If you tried to find me in Los Angeles, you'd never find me. Nobody knows me out here. Nobody knows where I live. You have to find me directly. You have to find me through someone who knows me. Most guys don't know me. The Elf, this is our Fantasy World Tarot card for today. This is a good deck. It's pretty cool. And, we also have, I'm going to keep plugging the Spring Dragon tea. I drank 3 of these yesterday and 1 today because I'm on a ticking clock now. I had my appointment at the VA, got there half an hour early. Everyone's appointment was for the same time, so it was a very crowded waiting room. And I got to see the doctor. I had to see a bunch of assistants. They brought in all the residents to look at my eye to show them, like, this is about as bad as you'll see. I have an appointment 6 weeks from now to get surgery. I don't know what they're going to do. They said they're not going to cut it out. So that's all I was hoping for. They don't have to take it, like, out of my head. Yeah, I don't know if I will go skating between now and then. I need some sun, so I think I might go out skating this weekend anyhow. Legacy of a Mad Scientist, Legend of Ashley Fox. 2 amazing science fiction fantasy novels for you on Amazon Smashwords and right here on YouTube. Linked at the end of this video as audiobooks. You can go out and listen to them for a limited time only. I did another great chapter last night. I also got to talk with Jay for a couple hours. He's the guy who drew this. He was a storyboard artist on the Incredible Hulk Marvel cartoon out here in Los Angeles. He helped me design these characters. He created Valeria. She is 100% his creation. Her design right here. Any real sort of Stacy Keebler blonde would satisfy, though. Ashley is mine. Jay did create all the bad guys in this issue except for Angulimala. He did create this guy with the hook. He did create these guys right here. Check this out. Oh, this is Angulimala right here getting a knife in the neck. I added the blood to that. You don't get real blood in most comics. My comics are going to have blood. Jay created these characters. I created Mazdak, who's the main wizard. Not that it matters. It's just fun to work together. Almost all the characters in this book are his. You know what I mean? This is at least 50% his. It's 100% his drawing. I just wrote this story. Now that does matter because when a comic book doesn't have good writing, it's really bad. And this one actually has really good writing. Danger Girl is perfect comic book writing. It's funny and it's immediate. It doesn't have to be too overly philosophical. It just has to, like the scene in this first one, I'm going to pull it out since I've got it right here. When Abby goes in the water and the boat, this is it right here. These 2 pages is some of the best comic book writing I've ever read in my entire life because it's about what happens. It's not about what gets said. Comic book writing needs to be way more about what happens instead of the silly quips that the characters say. It's not about Arnold throwing the machete and saying, stick around. It's about the team. It's about the team getting to the bad guy's site just as the hostages are murdered. That's good writing. It's about Arnold lifting up the truck that they were using to power the generator and rolling it down the hill with a bomb on the back. That's good writing. You don't ad-lib that on set. And an artist should never be ad-libbing that as he's drawing the pages. You should know when you get there. Now, I get it. It looks like Arnold ad-libs it on set because the character arrives, gets an overview of the situation, and decides which resources to utilize. That's why it's good writing, because it looks like it's an ad-lib. I wish this had more light in it. My night scenes will have more light in them. You'll be able to see my night scenes as if you had night vision. So, Danger Girl, Ashley Fox Ninja Babysitter. I think we're caught up. We're good on everything. So, what do I have to talk about? The chapter I got done last night was really good. Going to the VA was really stressful. I only got like 3 hours of sleep before I got back up and got back out in the car. So, I do have an appointment They did have really good equipment, better equipment than the other doctor I went to. So, I wish I hadn't spent years afraid of the VA. But then again, my appointment is 6 weeks out, not 6 days out. So if, I don't know if the insurance company comes back with an appointment next week, I'm going next week. Whoever will see me first. Other than that, my life is really good. I can't complain. I'm in fucking California. It was a beautiful drive down to the Westwood VA Medical Center. I have all day off. I don't have to be at work until 7 o'clock tonight. I can go skating if I wanted to. I'm out here going over comic books with you guys because I love you and I love comics and I love writing and drawing. And last night was a really good chapter. The night before last, I think I took the night before last off, but Sunday night I wrote also a really good chapter. It's a scene where Odin, who is the All-Father, finds Michael, Saint Michael the Archangel, who's also Apollo, and he had been missing. He didn't know who he was, been reincarnated and not had his knowledge, his past lives returned to him. And he had been serving as a Marine and lost both his hands. Now, I saw this guy in Santa Monica. This is the kind of thing that lets me take losing the vision in one eye with a grain of salt and not being a complete bitch about it. So the VA is out here, and I was served in the Marine Corps. I saw this guy down on Santa Monica Boulevard, and I could tell he had served. I think he had a red USMC sweatshirt on, but it might have also been a USC. Both the Marine Corps and the University of Southern California, Los Angeles, use red and gold as their colors. And he was wearing a red hoodie, and both his hands were missing, and you could see where the skin had pulled back over the bones of his wrist, and the white bones of the wrist were exposed. I walked right past this guy. I made eye contact with him. He's hanging out in the promenade with a bunch of people. And you could tell this was going to be new to him forever. He couldn't have been more than 24. He was a buff dude, blonde, big blonde beard. So that stayed with me for a long time, and I really thought about that a lot. And so this character, I have him as Apollo in the story that I'm working on right now. And Odin and the Valkyrie have found him. They know where he is. He's an immortal, so when he dies, he gets reborn, or he just lives forever. I haven't made up my mind how it works exactly with him, but he's going to die in this book, so it's the reincarnation thing is most likely. He's trying to commit suicide. He's at the VA. I'm going to spoil this whole bit for you. This is going to be kind of long today. So if you guys want to check out, please feel free. He's at the VA in a lounge. They have a residence center across from the VA hospital. The intersection of Wilshire Boulevard and Sepulveda, heading north-south, is really kind of unique in that so from your perspective, the northwest side is a VA residence area, and a little bit north of that is the Getty. So if you're coming down the 405 or Sepulveda Boulevard, here's the Getty, and then here is the VA Residence Center. It's like a VA rehab center, and it's a whole campus of buildings and whatnot. Across Wilshire Boulevard, you have the VA Medical Hospital and the National Guard. And so in my story, which I wrote quite a long time ago, I typed it up last night, but I've been working on this for several years. Since I finished these, I've known the bit I'm about to tell you about right now. The character of Michael, who I knew back then without his hands, got invited to participate in a VA experimental cybernetic program. He and a bunch of other soldiers, and then they were taken down to the basement of the VA and locked in a tunnel. Now, Michael didn't make it. Michael got stuck in the restroom, because he was fumbling with his sweatpants trying to use the restroom before he went into this other area. And then he couldn't get out because of the way the door opened, and he couldn't use the handle. And it took him quite a long time to maneuver his wrists to open the handle. And when he did finally get out, the escorts had already gone and locked his fellow soldiers in a room in a tunnel where they were attacked and eaten by reptilians that came up from underground. And then he escaped and tried to commit suicide over a period of a number of weeks. He tried to drown himself. That didn't work. He tried to climb up a building and jump off, but there was plexiglass guards that he couldn't scale. He was able to take the elevator up, and there was people smoking out there, so he still couldn't do it. And then he tried to jump in front of a train, and Odin held him back. Odin found him and held him back, and took him to a cathedral where he introduced him to Jesus. And Jesus told him to go. Well, one of the staff for a charity kitchen, like a soup kitchen, homeless kitchen, told him to go wait outside with everybody else. And as he got in line, some guy picked a fight with him and busted up his face. And then he was brought in and fed. And then at midnight, he was taken up to visit with Odin, who had found him at the train platform. And then Odin cuts off his own hands with his Superman laser beam out of his eye and gives them to Michael and fixes them to his hands. And the guy who had attacked him, who had these big heavy brass rings on in the parking lot, had gone out after dinner and overdosed. And Odin and Jesus had his hands on ice. And so after Odin cuts off his own hands and puts them on Apollo's wrists, he then takes this junkie's hands and replaces them on his own. And that was a big chapter to write. That was 2 nights ago. And then last night I wrote the chapter where Michael spends a day with his new hands helping a landscaper at the cathedral grounds sweep up and rake leaves and everything. And it was also a really good chapter. Not a lot of action, not Danger Girl, but I think I could compress these 2 chapters into 6 to 8, maybe 12 pages. The chapter I did last night could be 2 pages. The bit about losing and regaining his hands could probably be 6. So I could probably compress that into 8 pages total. That'd be pretty cool. So yeah, don't give up on your dreams, guys. And again, I'm drawing better than I ever have in my life. So never give up. See you tomorrow.